Hey all you Minnesota skinnies, this is Conman101 and welcome back to Reading Your Comments. Now before I start this video off, I actually do have an announcement. I did get game tickets for the Arizona Diamondbacks game at Target Field, and that is going to be the day they're giving out the Michael Cuddyer, I believe, Hall of Fame bobblehead. So really excited to go to those Twins games, but without further ado, let's get into the Reading Your Comments video. To start this off, I have like 3 spam comments. Likely spam. I'm not saying it is spam, but it's like in the likely spam section. And these are 3 I just want to address really quick. So there's one person that says if you need free music, come to my page, stuff like that. And there are some people, and then there are 2 people that say like, I subscribed, if you would subscribe back to me, that would be great. Just so you guys know, I used to do that. I used to, every time someone would subscribe to me and say they subscribe, I just automatically go and subscribe to them. But I don't want to do that anymore because it seems like I'm just only subscribing because they subscribe to me, and I'm hoping that they didn't subscribe to me just because they expected me to subscribe to them back. And so that's why I'm not doing that anymore. I want people to come to my channel because they like my content, and I want them to subscribe because they want to continue to support me. Just so you guys know, I do go through my subscription, like everyone who subscribed to my channel, and I go and look at their channels and see if I like them, and if I do like them, I do subscribe. So I am looking at all your channels. I like to watch all your channels and see what you guys are making, but just know that if your content isn't for me, I'm not going to subscribe, even if you're only subscribed to me for that reason. So don't subscribe if the only reason is to try to get exposure or to try to get a shout out or try to get me to subscribe, because that's not going to happen. So the next comment is from Jeff's World 2.0. Sorry, I almost said 101, but this is kind of about the whole Barry Bonds thing, and a couple of people actually did respond to that. I kind of expected that to happen. Because yes, I am aware that Barry Bonds was convicted of using performance-enhancing drugs, but I didn't put that into consideration really when I was making my decision, because one, he used them very late in his career. There's absolutely no evidence suggesting that he used it for even more than a year or 2. So that shouldn't erase all of the amazing plays and amazing home runs, amazing outings and amazing seasons that he had with his team. That shouldn't erase all that. Just because you're convicted of something that you did for 1 season in your career doesn't mean everything should be wiped away. Okay, so here's a comment from P.H, very original name by the way, and he says, "Dude, just show a highlight reel and stop teasing the idea that none of this 11-minute commentary wasn't boring people quicker than radio golf announcers." Well, PH, I would criticize the way you do things on your channel, but looking at your channel here, you have no content. So maybe you should stop judging people based on what they're doing when in reality you can't even make a spark on YouTube yourself. Having commentary on YouTube shows that you actually know what you're doing. You could put a whole bunch of highlights together and smush it together in a video. You could make that in, I'm not gonna lie, you could make that in 10 minutes. It takes no effort at all. But I actually talk to people. I think about what I'm gonna say. I do research on everything I'm doing beforehand, and then I put it all together in a video. I edit it and I upload it. To me, that shows a lot more dedication, a lot more like you actually know what you're doing, because there are so many channels out there that just put a bunch of highlights out there that people have already seen, and it's not fun for me to do that. There's no reason to do that. I've seen all these clips. The only reason I did that 1-0-1 was because I wanted people to vote for him. I get that those videos get a lot of views. That's not what I'm about. I'm about actually informing people about things that they're interested in. And maybe that is why I'm getting less views now, and maybe that is why I'm getting less subscribers, because people might not be interested, but I'm here to provide content for the people who are interested in what I'm saying. So yeah, I am aware that some people aren't going to like the commentary I'm doing, and some people are. So I don't get why you would put a comment on there about just you not liking it. You could say, to be honest, this commentary just kind of bored me, and I would understand that. But for you to say that, like acting like that was everyone on YouTube agreeing with you, that just makes no sense to me. So yeah, P.H, great channel, no content, no subscribers, you should really check him out. Okay, here we have Picks Kicks, another very original name, saying, due to exhausted pitchers, lol. Starters weren't good either, sweep is no excuse for one loss. You must be an Astros fan. I'm making that pick right out of the blue because Santana pitched 7 innings, maybe 6 was it? And he only allowed 2 runs. How many hits did he allow? Maybe 4 or 5. And then that's when the Astros came way back. Brios also didn't do that bad until the very end of the game, and the relief pitchers came in. So for you to say that my analysis of the game wasn't accurate, one argument you made wasn't accurate either, so there's really no reason for me to believe you or take you seriously. So Picks Kicks, not listening to you either. Also, I'm not saying that it was because the starters were good. I never said that it was because the relief pitching was exhausted. I'm just saying the pitching was exhausted in general because we had, just as 27 Sports said, we had 3 starting pitchers on the DL right now. And even now, we have Santiago on the DL. Phil Hughes was on the DL for the longest time. He's still maybe not even coming back for a while. We did have an exhausted bullpen, and that was a key factor in us losing that series against the Astros. I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm simply saying that our starting pitching was good, and that our relief pitching was just atrocious because we had just played an 11-inning game, or maybe even 12-inning game, in which we had about 5 or 6 of our relief pitchers playing just in that one game. So yeah, that one loss against the Rays is a good excuse for the sweep because it takes a long time to get back from using 6 pitchers in a game. So again, I can't really take that comment seriously. Okay, this is actually a very new comment of, do you think that Sano should have won the All-Star vote? Yes, of course I do, because he was just going through that rough patch where he struck out a lot of times. That was only one tiny part of his season, and the rest of it, he's been pretty consistently good. He's been hitting home runs like crazy now, and the only reason Jose Ramirez was voted in was because he only did good during the voting. I mean, if you look past that one section where he had that huge burst, what did he really do to deserve to be in the All-Star game? So I totally disagree with Jose Ramirez getting the starting All-Star spot over Sano. So on the Adrian Peterson tribute video I made, Mallie McCoy says, great running back, should have been on a better team. Oh, daggers. So you're trying to say that the Saints are a better team than the Vikings? That's pretty hilarious. The Vikings are a better team overall than the Saints. They've had much better seasons. Not to mention they would have won the Super Bowl that one year instead of the Saints if Brett Favre wouldn't have thrown that interception. So for you to say that Adrian Peterson should have been on a better team, what better team could he have been on? I mean, he really walked out at the worst time because the Vikings, I made a prediction earlier saying the Vikings are going to win within these next 5 years. They're going to win the Super Bowl, and I am standing firm with that. I believe that they're on the rise and that they might even go all the way this year because sometimes they tend to be kind of a hit and miss team, and I feel like this is the year that they're going to hit. So I believe that the Super Bowl champions either this year or in the next couple years to come are going to be the Vikings. So Adrian Peterson walked out at the wrong time, but should have been on a better team. That's not really something that anyone can agree with. Another comment says, what are your 5 least favorite of NFL teams? So let's see, my least favorite NFL teams, number 1 by far the Packers, because, you know, growing up a Vikings fan, I hate the Packers. The only reason they're good is just because of Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't on their team, they'd be terrible. They probably wouldn't even make the playoffs ever if Aaron Rodgers wasn't on their team. So that's why I hate the Packers. And then just growing up a Vikings fan, Seahawks, my second least favorite team. They're just so cocky. Everything they do is just so annoying. I don't know, they seem like one of those teams, they had to have neon green on their jerseys just to look cool. They just seem like a really cocky, overconfident team, and that's why they could easily win, or at least make it to the Super Bowl almost all these years if they weren't so overconfident. So that's my second least favorite team. I also hate the Bengals just because their defense and like Pac-Man Jones and all the players on the defense are just vicious. They just pick a fight with everyone. That hit on Antonio Brown in the wild card a couple years ago was just brutal. So just because there's a few players on the defense I just hate. The Bengals are another one of my least favorite teams. And my fourth least favorite team has got to be the Saints, just because there's still a lot of bitterness from the Saints intentionally trying to hurt Brett Favre and succeeding in that during the Super Bowl run that they had. I just feel like they don't deserve that Super Bowl win that they had. The Vikings really should have had that, and they just, that was a real controversy. That was bad. That was embarrassing for that organization that the Saints had to intentionally injure Brett Favre just to win that game. That's the only way they could have won that game. That's just embarrassing for them. So fourth least favorite team is the Saints. And then my fifth least favorite team has got to be the Giants. Not for anything besides Odell Beckham Jr. He really grinds my gears. He's a really annoying player. He's so overconfident, so cocky. He just thinks he's the best ever just because he had 3 good seasons. And then, I mean, he thinks he's the greatest of all time. That's what he thinks. That's what's going on in his brain. He's a cheerleader for himself is basically what he is. He thinks he's good enough that he doesn't have to, he can just go on a trip to Miami. I think it was Miami a week before his wild card game. He just thinks he's better than everyone else, and that really annoys me. So Giants are my least favorite team, fifth least favorite team. But that pretty much wraps up this reading your comments video. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's a couple of hate comments in there now. I like responding to those because they're just so dumb. I love making fun of all the hate comments, even though they don't really strike anything. They don't do anything to me. I just like laughing at them and making fun of them. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please follow my Instagram _conman101 and my fantasy football Instagram, Fantasy Football Freak, for some great content there as well. So thank you guys again, and I will see you on the flip side.